Hello and welcome to our virtual Wisdom Circle episode of the Heart Behind the Daily Hustle of Champions, powered by Exceptional Connections. I'm Cindy O'Neill Dady, the founder and chief connector of Exceptional Connections, a community I've had the joy of leading since 2009. Once a month, our conversation to connect is going to be a little different. We've added the heart behind the Daily Hustle of Champions. This month, we're featuring the remarkable Marcelle Allen joining us from Mill Creek, Washington. Welcome, Marcelle. We're so glad you're here. And the purpose of our virtual wisdom circle, for those of you who are wondering, the heart behind the daily hustle of champions is to spotlight our champion connectors, elevate their visibility, and reveal the heart, habits, and wisdom that fuel their daily success. This complimentary offering is open to all and is designed to cultivate a nurturing environment where authentic stories are shared, practical insights are exchanged, and meaningful connections can truly flourish. Around the 35 to 40-minute mark, we'll open the lines for Q&A. So as you listen, feel free to note any questions or insights you'd like to share later in the program. So before we dive into the secret sauce behind Marcelle's success, I'd love to invite her to share a bit about her background and her journey that got her to where she is today for those exceptional connectors who may not yet know her. So Marcelle, the stage is yours. Take it away.
Thank you, Cindy. And I'm going to go ahead and dive in with a screen share. But yeah, my name is Marcelle. My nickname is Hallmark because I am a walking greeting card for those who know me well. Because I love to encourage people as they dream and navigate. And my business is called Dreamosity, which is a word mash of dreams and curiosity and generosity. Because I wanted to help people dream. That was the whole premise of the business. And today's presentation is called Circles of Contribution from Dependence to Earning Confidence, because part of financial joy is helping my clients experience earning confidence and financial joy. But first off, some of the family history, because I was so inspired by Karen's presentation last month. But in the kind of top right photo there, that was my mom and my sister and her friend. And I grew up on a skydiving platform outside. So I would run around wild and free. And my mom was an active skydiver. So I grew up with a very fun family. My sister was a big part of my world. My mom, she was, again, semi-professional skydiver. She actually divorced my dad when I was age 5, and then he remarried to a wonderful woman when I was about 13. So I've had two phenomenal women influencing my development, and you'll hear some of the yin and yang of that in this presentation. I was an active athlete in high school. My best was 5'5", so depending how tall you are, I may have been able to jump over you back in the heyday, which was just kind of fun. I went to state as a freshman and sophomore, and I love the team element of track and field, but also encouraging everybody else on the team. So big active athlete. And you got my late husband's picture down there. I weave him in because part of my why of this story is what happened with him. My nephews are in here because a lot of what I'm doing today is to inspire the next generation of young men and women. So I'm really excited about that. And yeah, I have a great family. I've been supportive. I've never had a day where I felt alone because I have so many people I can lean on and connect to. And part of the idea of circles of contribution is I want people to be comfortable both giving and receiving. And so this is just a little credibility thing over the last couple of years. I think 16 years now, since 2008, I have been supporting remarkable leaders in one way. And it literally started just by helping a photographer get images on her website, right? And I've been a TEDx coach. I've been so many things for so many people, but really my role has been to cheer and steer. And that is kind of the purpose of my presentation today, is to cheer and steer. So contribution, just from a word perspective, is giving, right? It's how do we give? But looking specifically at it's the part played by a person or thing to bringing about a result or helping someone advance. And so much of my career has been helping other people to advance. And part of what I want to share about today is how social media is literally one big collaborative effort. And so much of how my business has grown has been through collaboration and by contributing to the communities and the circles around us. So, Cindy, do you want me to keep going into the presentation, or did you want to stop after the family history part?
No, just keep flowing.
Okay. Still going. So the other or the sad part of my story is my husband died when I was 31 years old. So I was a very young widow. And one of my favorite communities is called the Modern Widows Club. And this infographic on the left really defines the crap that a widow may have to experience. And so few of my network at that time understood. I mean, I thought a widow was a spider, you guys. Like I had no idea what a widow was or what it meant to be a widow, right? And so I'm really pro visual and pro infographics and systems and designs that help people make a decision. But this graphic steered a lot of my creative because so many clients, whether divorced or suddenly single or maybe their husband just is really busy and kind of checked out. It's like, how do we support these women in business? And I wrote about Modern Widows Club in April 2024 with Cindy, who was one of our leaders of our community. But I also created this game called Topple. And Topple is this game where we don't get a plan our death, right? Like most people don't have a say in that final day. And I know this might sound a little morbid, but people pass. It's a thing. It's been very real in my world. And the mess that is left behind is now part of one of my missions is helping people navigate change, navigate loss, not navigate a body of work and planning to hopefully leave a legacy, kind of like what Lori talks about, and giving making your legacy happen today. You know, don't wait till a perfect day. There isn't a perfect day to tell your story. But this has been a big part of how do I help and create. This is just kind of I get really creative with people. I know it's silly, but I have this thing called a discovery deck where I help people navigate the internet to win. And based on their storm, their budget, their vision, their mission, there are different tactics and skills to move people forward. In the past, I've ran a meetup called Developing Digitally You. And it's this whole idea is if you could out motivate, out train, out sell, out encourage based on your digital platform, how much more profitable and generous could you be? Because to me, getting on video is an act of generosity. It is contributing a story, a message, an offer, a tidbit to the world. It is such a gift for us to be able to go live any day. And so I really encourage people to get creative and to use visuals and to use video as a form of leverage because so much of what I know about earning confidence is it doesn't happen doing the same old thing, right? Like we have to get creative, we have to try new things, we have to really build those relationships. And this is just another glance at the discovery deck, but part of also why I love so many visuals is because when somebody is in crisis or when they're in overwhelm, their brain kind of shuts down. We don't function as well when we're grieving or when we're stressed. And so to me, the pictures, they're not just to be pretty, they are going to be someone's lifeline. If they go to Google one day at 3 a.m. saying, how do I do this? How do I find these? Or you're giving people on search a chance to find your message. So to me, that visual diversity becomes really important in how they might connect or find your brand. This is just a fun one. Uh, I've kind of mixed together a lot of my presentations from prior magazine articles to share some of my favorite just tactics and things that I leverage with clients. But the language of audiences visualized. So I often help clients who are digitally hesitant, and I encourage them to dream bigger, to have a bolder stance at the communities they serve. So just like an audience size, for example, is the dream about a universe like in the political space they talk about all these like universes of voters. Is it statewide? Is it an assembly like a high school? Is it a group, a gathering, an entire population of people, right? So I really like to clarify for people what is the audience we're going after because there's a lot of ways to move online and we want to focus it the best we can. And then this is one of my favorite little bubble charts I made years ago about the benefits of data art, because people often ask, like, why data art? Like, why is it important to connect logical information with artistic presentation? And one, it could be to enjoy budgeting. Our brains enjoy visuals and colors. Our experiments may help somebody else, right? So there's so many ways you can take a screenshot of this if you want. I'm not going to go deep, but this is actually on another publication I've written in the past. But to me, I really want to bring creative people in so that they can help all types of neurodiverse people in their life, whether they're people who love to read an essay or they really need a chart or they want to do an improv game. Like we all learn and teach differently. And to me, bringing data art into that business conversation is just a more fun and easy way to really contribute back to others. Um, so I wanted to talk a little bit about our sphere of influence. One of the ways I've helped people navigate online is to really clarify and spatially understand their sales territory, right? From a female perspective, we have so many types of makeup and hair care and you know, creative ways to make ourselves look good. But how do we help earn for our family or earn for our communities? How do we really decide where are we going to go sell or promote, or even what is our ministry? And so this is just an example of looking at online communities, online territories. And my mom was actually the first person to teach me about really a sales territory. She would get in her cute little Corvette and she would leave our home in Issaquah at the time. She'd head up I-90, go to Factoria, go to Kirkland, go to Linwood, and then make her ways up to, Seattle and Lake City and come back through Mercer Island, right? She would drive every day as a saleswoman to help people. That was what she did. She was in lending. And for us online, we don't have to drive to 20 cities if we don't want to. We can actually communicate to 5, 10, 15 groups in a day if our mission is big and if our message is clear. And so I really like to help people spatially understand their sales territory. This is just one example. And then, oops, where do we go? Come back. There you go. So this is another example of on the right here is one of my frameworks for remarkable leadership. A lot of my clients, they do lead a community of some sort, or I encourage them to create one if they don't have one yet. But on the right, we're talking about like content consumption, and we're always consuming content, right? You're listening to my voice right now, you're watching my slides go by. Some of us are content creators. We're making a speech, we're making a video, we're writing poetry, we're baking a delicious, healthy cake, right? Like we're creating. And then the thought leader is the people who have a vision for something different. They want to create a different world for the next generation. And then the visual leader, this is something I've been working to define, but it's helping people make a decision without us standing there. It's content that stands alone in a blog post or a YouTube video, but it visually leads people like a great recipe does. But on the left here, from our sphere of influence, I want you to really think about, and I've had to make these choices over the years for myself too. Like, am I just going to watch someone else's drama on TV or Netflix? Or am I going to consume the storms and celebrations of those in my network? Right? So often people are like, "Oh, social media is exhausting. It's really taxing. I don't understand it." It's like, but if you're there to contribute, if you're there to help, if you're there to sell or promote, people are sharing their lives very openly and broadly online. And so if you're ever looking for new people, just consume the stories of the people in your network and turn off mainstream, because I find that a lot of us, we may not have a nationwide impact at this point, but we can absolutely have a local impact. And those are going to come from the people already in your network. And so that's a challenge for you, is to just continue to um, contribute to and consume those in your network as opposed to people you'll never talk to, right? So I encourage bringing this like local mentality of participating with those that you can, talk to. And then again, we're not going to do a whole example of this, but I want to really encourage people to think critically about your sphere of influence. And on the left here, I've got my social audience matrix, which measures perceived expertise, everything from rookie to MVP, and then audience size from 0 to 1 million. It is not proportional, but this is just a creative way for people to kind of audit their sphere of influence. And, so a very pale opacity might be 10 out of 10 people know you, or 10 out of 100 people. So very few people know you. Sometimes I walk into a room, nobody knows me. But sometimes, like at ECN, I go in and it's like, cheers, boom, everybody knows your name, except for the new guest or so. So this is a way to spatially plan out and map out, to think critically on how to advance your message into new spaces. Here's another example of kind of my sphere of influence. And then I always put seagulls in there for my top referral partners. Cindy, I got you in there. I don't think Rosie or Charlie's here, but I like to also, how do we empower our referral partners and our sales team? So these are just visual examples of looking at your sphere. If you're in the real estate space, this is a very common concept for you. But in social media, if you're selling something different, or if you got a speech, it's like, well, where do I take that? Where do I network that around? Where might I put that video and work to build traction with a group of people? So oftentimes people are like, oh, do you just do social media? What about SEO and paid advertising? I'm a fan of all three. I think it's important that we have a good understanding of SEO and how our videos and our blog posts rank in the search engines. But also like Facebook, this image on the right here from a paid ad, you can very visually see and spatially see like what are the cities I am targeting, right? So oftentimes people drop a lot of money on coffee or they'll spend money kind of all over the place. I always like where are we trying to target our resources? How do we allocate to best penetrate the people we want to get in front of? So if you ever want to geek out on advertising, I get excited about this stuff. And then this is another example of sphere of influence. So a lot of you know Lisa Hawkinson, one of my dear friends and clients, and she's just a remarkable woman. And so visualizing her sphere, and her and I have a commonality by being a widow. And when you lose your spouse and potentially a lot of that family dynamics, they change. You get ghosted. It's weird. But creating a new sphere of people that are in a similar place of life or similar hobbies, like it is so important. But not only just to have the sphere, but to tell your story, right? She had so much wisdom. So all the stars here on the left in that social audience matrix are visually representing all the videos we did for her over the years so she could have a large impact, so she could get her message, her wisdom, her encouragement out there to more people. And then we're going to transition a little bit. So, sphere of influence versus cash flow. So, one of the things I talk a lot about in Financial Joy is cash flow and allocating and how do we actually earn the money we want to earn. And I just created this visual. It's called a revenue table. It's like a fun take on the periodic table of all the ways you could make money in your career. I did this because so often people are like, I don't know how I want to make money online, or I'm not sure what I'm good at. So this is again, take a screenshot if you want, or if you're watching the podcast, check this out on YouTube because it's visually stimulating. But there's a lot of ways, and especially if you lose your husband suddenly and now you're the breadwinner, what are you going to do? If you had to generate $5,000 really quickly, could you? How about 10? Right? So this book, The Allocation Station, is actually a kid's book. It's talking about how do we allocate responsibly. And there's a QR code there if you want to learn more. But the idea is, or the final page in the book was like these kids were saying, "Oh, so a budget is just a plan of where you want to go." Yes. And so it's all about defining like where do you want to go and having this whole train metaphor. But this is one of my first AI books that I produced using some technology. But so on the left here, this is another kind of visual example of allocating with creativity, right? So to me, lists and circles, there's a different way to visualize it. And you don't need to make sense of this entire story today. I just want to invite you to know that there is an entire creative conversation going on of how we contribute to the conversation around financial literacy and budgeting and sales and entrepreneurship in a way that can be really creative and fun and bright and interesting, especially for, again, neurodiverse people who may not think the way that you do or the way that your parents did. And then these are just a couple excerpts from my book, Financial Joy, the data behind your dreams. Because I had this question or this problem where I was wondering, like, why is it that some of my clients can make $20,000 or $30,000 in a month? And for some people, I can't even get them to 5,000 a month. Like, what is it? And so this book really dives into the personal sales behaviors and patterns behind like a top producer and maybe somebody who doesn't have those skills yet, because I want to inspire people who are underproducing that it's possible, but also to look at how can we get there. And so this is just on the next slide. I think I'm going to give you a QR code to download the book because I'm remaking a second book right now because I left out some of these key things. But to me, your net profit, I'm trying to make it fun and juicy. Like if you have a $5,000 month, for example, that doesn't mean you took home 5 grand. So looking at net profit through the lens of the harvest of our labor. So we can do a one-to-one if you ever want to talk more about this. And recently somebody's like, you need more than pumpkins. Like what happens if you get to 30,000 or 40,000? And so now I'm working on like a steak and what is it? Surf and turf to get up at 1,000 and then dessert 40,000. So stay tuned for some fun there. And then here, so take a screenshot or QR code that if you want a free copy of the first version of Financial Joy. I'm coming out with a second version fairly soon. And then one of my favorite sayings is you can't be remarkable just once, you got to stay remarkable. So a little more backstory on Dreamosity. What do we value? Clarity, community, creativity, choice. I want people to have choices, and then leadership, right? One person asked me recently, well, what's the purpose of building wealth? Well, wealthy people can literally disrupt and change an industry. So that's a bigger leadership thing. But if you're broke, it's really hard to fix something that's broken. But when you have wealth, you can literally drive industries forward, which is amazing. And then my vision is really to transform campaigns to serve communities, right? So I'm always thinking about the end consumer. Is that design and that content, is that going to help them make a decision? Right. So our goal is to drive decision making because that's kind of the purpose of marketing is to get people to talk to you. And then you might be wondering, well, Marcelle, who do you serve and has it changed over the years? Yes, it has changed drastically, but it's always been somebody who's a little bit digitally hesitant. And the graphic on the left next to Shelly here is my favorite worksheet to start a new businesswoman on from a pure tracking sales appointments, which is different than conversations, but like where'd they come from? What was their name? What was the date? What was their decision? Did I even get to the decision making point? What was the amount? And then did I request a referral? Did I ask for a chance to contribute to somebody in their community, right? Referrals are such a good thing. Presenter Pat, this is it could be a guy or a gal, but somebody who's presenting on stage and maybe their visuals are putting you to sleep, right? So I love to create keynotes that are more visually dynamic. And then writing Wendy, this is a character who she may be deep in journaling. She loves to write. She's processing her trauma. And my question for her is like, what if her love for drawing means that she could be great at storyboarding, right? Or maybe some of these journals are going to become keynotes one day, or books or articles that contribute to society. So I really have a heart for that gal who's just, she's on a journey. And then people inspired by injustice, people, if you've had something really tough or painful or tragic or just a dumb, stupid situation, like I believe with social media, we can actually make change quite quickly if we're willing to speak out on it. So I encourage people on those kind of categories. And then, so this is kind of new for this ECN group. I haven't shared this with you yet, but I've got a new incentive program in 2026, which this is 16 years into my business, gals. So this is like a fun change. But in my magazine, many of you have seen it. I'm not selling ad space at all. And in fact, you can't buy a two-page spread, but I am incentivizing my referral partners to go to bat for me, to introduce people to me and the work we're doing at Dreamosity. And so if somebody here were to sell 2 revenue ringlets in a month, you could have a double page. So how cool is that? Some of you who know me and love me, I think this would be a really great opportunity. But this is also like, I didn't start here. This has been, many years coming. And also just catch up on some prior publications at dreamosity.com. There's a ton of really great leaders. Shout out to Cindy. She was Mrs. March 2024. And Lisa Hawkinson was July 2024. Karen, what was that, June 2024? So a lot of our ECN members have been featured here because they are just remarkable leaders. They're doing great work. And I just want to encourage people to read about them because they're doing such great work. Um, Another new thing, and I'll wrap up here, Cindy, in just a minute, but my question for you is, would you make 10 phone calls if you knew you could make an extra $1,000? So one of my new things, and actually Charlie, many of you guys know Charlie and Elle, they're on my team this year. We are creating a Seagull School. So free trainings for our referral partners on the second of every month. So this is just a great way to come and learn more about social media, how to use video, how to, even scripting, but we'll be training some basic things that any referral partner would benefit from. So take a screenshot, hit that QR code if you want, and then get involved. So if you're like, well, what does that mean, Marcelle? How would I contribute to your mission with financial joy? How could I get involved? This survey is a great way to find out. If you're willing to talk to people about those topics that I talk about in data art, we should absolutely talk because I know my vision is pretty big and I can't do this alone. But at the end of the day, I want to encourage you to contribute to others and let others contribute to you. So social media is not a one-way me, blasting out there. It is asking and inviting and it's contributing. And so there's this beautiful yin and yang of giving and taking, giving and taking. So with that, Cindy, I'm going to pass it back to you.
Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Marcel. I learned so much about you and your your journey and your visuals and how you built your business. But if we can circle back before we open up for Q&A and just kind of have you, really dial in on like, what do you think your secret sauce has been, in all the years and all the things that you've been through that has made you so successful
I
or
think part of
helped you
it's
with your success?
yeah, it's gratitude. It's being grateful for life, right? Like I'm still standing. We're all still here. We have it. We have choice. We have a creative imagination. To me, so much of financial joy is making rejection pretty by saying, "Yay, I talked to somebody, but they didn't say yes, but yay, I tried," right? And I know how much rejection is required in business, and so I invite my clients to look at rejection as yay, I tried. Like I want people to really encourage themselves along that journey because rejection is very normal and it's okay. But we need to be grateful that we still have a great product. We still have, we've got the website, we've got the solutions. We're just someone out there, 20,000 doors away, probably really, really has been praying their heart out for just what we have. So if we can have that gratitude despite the storms and the no's, you keep going.
I also hear just in your spirit and, knowing you that, having a good attitude, right? So gratitude, having a good attitude. And
Yes.
then, there's also you don't give up. You're
Mhm.
you're like an Energizer bunny. You keep going,
I
right?
do.
You
I
keep
don't have a
trucking.
choice. I don't have a husband to fall back on. So I'm like, I gotta figure it out. I've been figuring it out, and I think I was gonna say statistically the average age of a widow is 56. I was 31, so I was like really below average or whatever, ahead of the curve. But if you're above 56 right now, I don't want to be a party pooper, but like we've got to get our earning confidence up just in case. Right. And I don't know everybody's stories here, but there's a really it's not spoken about in a lot of circles. And I'm like, I've made it through. I've survived 16 years now in business. And a lot of women, I think it's 70% of widows instantly get thrown into poverty because they're not prepared and they don't know how to talk about money. They don't know how to talk about budgeting. It's not part of their family process. And I want people to get prepared and or come ask for help if they get stuck because there's a lot of really smart people online willing to help.
And you've chosen a pathway that's not traditional because you've become an entrepreneur in that pathway. You didn't just have a job,
Yeah,
right? You
no,
didn't just go get a job, jump out of bed every day and get a paycheck, which is more challenging because you have to be creative, and that's part of your secret sauce too, is your creativity.
yeah. And I think the other secret sauce is like anytime I hear an idea, I'm like, I don't know what that is. Like I will doodle and sketch and research and like if I can get physical with it and like draw it or like storyboarding, for example, I didn't know what it was initially. And then I'm like, oh, it's actually kind of fun. You get a doodle and sketch and so getting not being afraid of not knowing something, but leaning into it. Because like budgeting, I used to think budgeting was so stupid, and now I help my clients with budgeting. Even Lori said my process was divine, which I'm so grateful for.
Mm.
But the idea is, if we're scared of it, we have to get good at it, and we know we're better at it if we can actually teach on it now. Like that's kind of a good indicator that we know what we're doing, or at least we have better insight than before.
But that's such a great point because a lot of times they say if you want to be able to really learn something, teach it,
Hmm.
right? Teach it to others. That's the best way to be able to, take it in yourself and then be able to be a contribution to others.
Yeah.
So, what values guide your work and life? I know you touched on it in your talk, but distill that for us.
Yeah, I think optimism, creativity, community, leadership,
Those are all
clarity.
beautiful
I didn't
values.
always love clarity, but I realized clarity is really important. Like, we got to get clear.
Hmm. Those are good reminders. All right, what daily habits or rhythms help you stay aligned and successful? And I
Yeah,
know
so
you
part
have structures and systems in your business and you have a lot of visuals.
yeah, a lot of those visual support, like I have that circle diagram on a notepad where I doodle and I sketch in it, like because if I could just socialize for my whole life, you guys, I would. Like I would just make friends all the time and I wouldn't sell, I wouldn't have to promote. But I've had to learn I've got to track my behavior, and the behavior of asking for the order is very different than just an introduction. So I track sales appointments pretty thoroughly, and I encourage all my clients to, because it's different than just, hey, how are you? It's, hey, do you need this thing for, $200 or for 10 grand, or like getting to that it's a muscle to build. And I'm still building it, quite honestly.
Marcel, I love the way you create that circle and you have the petals and you have the leaves and you have different parts of that because sometimes we get really we're busy in our business. But are we creating
Hang
revenue?
on.
Are we moving things forward? Are we making
What?
introductions? Are we making referrals? All the things that you need to do to balance it out. Because sometimes as an entrepreneur, we just want to stay in our little cozy zone and, you know, create graphics and but are
Type
we
it or
making the
computer, I
calls,
get it. I get it.
right?
Yeah.
So I love that you're intentional about that and you help other people track it in a way that makes it more engaging and fun.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, and so much of it too is like in financial joy, I wrote about having a daily impact goal. And sometimes we're like, I need help. Like someone come help me with this thing, right? And sometimes I can go help 10 people. I can go help 20 people. I can go help. I had a client this last week. She had 213,000 people on her Instagram reel. And while they didn't all say thank you, that's a bigger contribution than she's ever had before. And that's exciting because people needed to hear what she had to say. She had like 3,000 people actually share the video because nobody had said this thing yet in her industry. Like that's a big impact. That's cool stuff. Like I get excited about that.
You know what? Talking to you because you're so creative, I have a visual of our business is like a truck or a car, a vehicle, and it moves us forward and it has four wheels.
Mhm.
But if one of the wheels is flat, we're not going to go very far, right? We have to really keep things balanced in our business. So, what pivotal lesson has shaped your journey the most, do you think?
Um, I think there
And
was
it
one
could be more than one.
Yeah, there was one Pinterest contest I did, and I was just kind of like, it'd be cool if we did this, right? And I just had some silly ideas, and we tried it, and it helped my client make $40,000 in a month. And I literally thought it took a year to make 40 grand. Like my own, earning confidence was pretty low at that point, but like this idea, this ambition, this silly thing on Pinterest, like it literally helped her make 40 grand in a month. And that to me was a really big change maker because again, I was kind of slow and steady and like, oh, don't experiment, don't take a risk, don't run ads, and that was a like it shifted how I viewed the internet. And that's why I think data art, like no one starts with the sphere of influence of zero. Like unless you're literally coming out of addiction recovery, but even then you've got some people who care about you, right? So most people start with the sphere of influence. But if we neglect to really leverage that or look at that, it seems like an uphill battle. And it can happen really fast for some people. That's kind of exciting.
So your mindset was shifted.
Hmm.
And it's like the glass ceiling we always talk here about, right? Your mindset was shifted, and then anything is possible, and you can encourage your clients and your as well. So, okay, let's round up with one more question, and then we can open it up for Q&A and epiphanies from others who are listening. So, what parting encouragement would you like to offer to others to just kind of put a bow around your heart behind the daily hustle of champions?
So many things I could say.
It could
I'm
be more than one thing.
right now really the contribution thing. Think about who you give to and who gives to you. Right? Recently, I've learned that we should have 8 friends. I know that sounds silly, like, because I can get lost in like thousands of people and 20,000 people, but like we should have 8 people that if we needed to go crash on somebody's couch because life was hard and something happened, do we have 8 people, right? So who are your 8? In your city right now, because I got friends in Florida and New York and California, but like they're not my immediate circle. And so think of who can you contribute to and who do you ask for help from, right? Because it's that yin and the yang. You've got to ask and give and take, give and take, give and take. It's not just to give, give, give. And it's certainly not just to take, 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 but finding your own pattern of contribution and then being okay to receive help. I think it's so important for us to be humble and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Can somebody help me? Like, and that's okay. And then sometimes, hey, I know a better pathway. Are you open to my coaching and advice? So learning both those ways to ask, I think is really important when you're building your dreams and you're helping other people achieve theirs as well.
So being able to identify your inside crowd or your inside
Yeah, I'm calling it the
advocates.
encouraging eight. Who are the eight people that are your encouragers? And they could be a paid person like a therapist or a social media manager or somebody like a pastor. Uh, I don't think it should be employees because those come and go, unfortunately. And I don't know if it should be a spouse because those come and go too. Like part of me is like, who are your eight encouraging people? Because and I don't know, and I've just been playing with that idea. But give and take, find your pattern. Um, because we really need a team to get through this wonderful world they call life.
Hmm. That's beautiful. I really love that. I think that's and whatever the number, right, for you. For you, eight resonates. Maybe it's five for somebody else. So
Well,
just kind of play
and
with that.
eight actually came from a local trauma recovery group. So
Oh,
whether
did
you've
it?
gone through a
So
major
you have data
trauma
for
or
that.
you're coming out
Interesting.
of rehab or because at 2 a.m., what if the first six don't answer? Or what if,
Right.
so it's like,
Right.
but I also think we should be able to be okay talking about to tens of thousands of people in a given month too, and that's where I tend to go big picture versus a small, but I'm finding that we need to really craft and visualize both.
That's beautiful. I love that. Okay, and I love that there's data behind that number.
Yeah.
It's not just a random number, right?
Yep.
I should have known. So let's go ahead and feel free to unmute yourself and share if you learned something new about Marcel you didn't know, to learn about kind of the evolution of Dreamosity and also her own personal journey. So feel free to unmute yourself so I know that you're available to ask a question.
So, Marcel, did becoming a widow force you into creating Dreamosity, or did you have Dreamosity before becoming a widow?
I had it several years before and I wasn't ready to let it go. Yeah. I had a pretty big dream before I met him, and I think I told you I was working at Boeing back in the day, or a
Mhm.
subcontractor at Boeing, and they put this butterfly in a box. I'm like, I am not going to change the world sitting in this cubicle. Like, and I had pretty big dreams, and I was like, I need to find the right place, and it wasn't in corporate America. Mhm.
Lori.
Mine is similar. I don't look at you as a widow because you're always so happy and you're young. And so sometimes, but that was the first time I met you. You shared that story, and about kind of being, for lack of better, thrown to the wolves. You had to figure it out. And when I became divorced, same thing. I'd been a stay-home mom, and now I've got to figure out how to support myself with three kids at home and one that was difficult, and I couldn't make more money than I'd have to pay a babysitter. So I had to get creative. And so that's what I love about what you do, because you don't say it's my way or the highway. You say, what are your strengths? And, just the way you encourage people is so amazing, because it's really easy for people to give advice rather than listen and, suggest. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Yeah, of course. And I think that's why I love data art is there's a lot of ways to win. There's not just one. There are a lot of ways to win. And the more comfortable we are choosing for ourselves based on what some expert says, like I'd rather empower your clarity than force you down one way because that sucks.
So I
Yeah.
love the way you talk about circles of contribution because there are so many different ways that we contribute to others and others contribute to us. And I think it's really important to think about it. And you're so great at the visuals. The visual piece is your brilliance because you could say a word or you could say something out loud to somebody and you have, let's say, this group here, and you have that many different interpretations of what you just said. But there's a lot of clarity in visuals. So I love that you offer that. Anybody else, feel free to mute yourself and give Marcel some love and share what you really enjoyed learning and maybe some new things that you didn't know or confirmation of the secret sauce that you see in her that because, Marcel, you mentioned for your secret sauce gratitude, but I see so many other different ingredients in your secret sauce that you share. Kathy, go ahead.
Well, Marcelle, I think you're fabulous. I knew from day one when I first met you that you navigate yourself with such grace and integrity and dignity. And my mother was a young widow herself. She became a widow at 38 with 5 children, and she had to really recreate herself as well. And I think when you go through something like that at an age like that, um, you develop this quiet inner strength, and not only an inner strength, but a determination. Uh, and appreciation that few people really understand. Um, and I admire that. I admire my mother, uh, and what a role model you are for so many. And I'm so appreciative of having you on my team and supporting me. So I think I can count you as one of my 8.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your kind words. And it's been so wonderful watching you grow and blossom and define your sphere of influence and give back, because there's a lot of, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people doing it the wrong way. And you've got a pretty powerful perspective on a better way if they're willing to listen to your invitation. So I love supporting leaders like you who really want to make a difference, because that's the beautiful part of social media is we can initiate these really powerful conversations.
I think it's so beautiful, Kathy, what you just did. In acknowledging Marcelle as one of your 8, you really created that connectivity that's really unique and rare on this planet, right? To be able to say that to, like a lot of you on this in this call are my 8. And I just so appreciate, having people that are going to watch your back, right? They're going to be there for you. And it's not just people that you're going to buy from or sell from, but people who are there for you through thick and thin. That's a rare thing in this world. So anybody else want to share? Again, different things you've learned about Marcelle that you didn't know already, or how she has inspired you with who she's being.
Well, I love what Marcelle does. She doesn't even talk about Laugh Tech during this whole thing, but she has a whole nother entity that she promotes too, which is Laugh Tech. And that's really where I got to know more of Marcelle, or where I began to learn about Marcelle was more on the Laugh Tech side. And then I learned about Dreamosity through Laugh Tech. So that's really how I got introduced to Marcelle, and had no idea that she was a widow. I learned about that in passing. So it was like, oh, I had no idea. So there was kind of an after thing that I learned about Marcelle. So it was very inspiring. And I was going to say earlier that it's very similar to the divorced women that I worked with, and kind of what Lori had said too is a lot of divorced women had relied on their husbands, or what I am finding, like I said earlier, gray divorcees. They're women who are getting divorced in their late 70s and have been married for years and years and years. And their husbands have done the finances for all those years. It's not that they didn't have jobs, but they didn't understand their finances. So there's a lot of things that Marcelle said in this presentation about financial joy and understanding the why and the how behind finances and how important it is. So yeah. So, and even in her version and her thought process around finances is completely different than what mine is. And that's the beauty of it.
Marcelle, excuse me, I have a really bad cold, but I did not know that you were a widow. And so that was valuable information, because I can see where you've come from. And I do have several friends who are widows or have been divorced. And so it kind of opens up for me some more understanding in that area with the things that you shared. So I appreciate that. I was not aware of everything that you do. You're an amazing woman. I really appreciate that. And I wanted to sit down and have coffee with you, and we'll still do that to find out more. But this really gave me a larger picture of who you are. And I really appreciate that. A lot of what you talked about, like make rejection pretty, was kind of, I've heard those kinds of things, but you said them in a different way. Because rejection is normal in business. It just is. And you can't take it personally. And to look at, okay, well, I tried, I still have great products, great whatever, is a really good perspective. And I appreciate that because you have just, it's, one more thing in your arrow that, okay, yes, I heard that in one place. Now I've heard it in another place. They're both successful people. So those kinds of things are important. So, and the daily impact goal, that was something I hadn't thought about before. And we can do it, make an impact so many different ways. So I appreciate all that you shared today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And I can't wait to have coffee with you. And it really, I put my motivational speaker hat on a little bit today because so often I'm cheering people on like in a one-to-one space. And I do enjoy talking to audiences, and I'm looking to grow my speaking career more this year because I got a lot to share. I got a lot of wisdom. And sometimes, well, not sometimes, but every day we have hundreds of decisions we could or should make. But if we don't know the patterns that are needed, it's hard to grow. And there's so many patterns within date art that could be visually displayed to help people like at least anchor in a new concept like momentum or sphere of influence or even net profit. Like it should be fun. If it's not fun, we're missing the beat.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Marcelle, Karen brought up a really good point. So lab tech is a whole other part of you. Can you tell us more about, how that got started? Because I know that you have a business partner in that venture and why you're still continuing it and how that helps encourage you
Yeah,
just being in
so
that environment.
I think it was 2015 or 2016, Brian Trendler came to me with a vision of I want to build a humor education company. There wasn't one on the market at the time. We had met at a Toastmasters conference, and I had done a lot of course curriculum and information design before, so I was very comfortable pulling information out of his noggin. And several of the comedians we interviewed to create curriculum, and that's where we have really cool, dynamic public speaking content to help public speakers or those who are shy with their commercial or they're scared to get on TV. So it's a little bit of how to develop your mix of humor so that you can have fun and tell your story. And so when I met him, I was preaching video pretty hard, like video, 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 you gotta do video. And I was like, oh crap, you gotta get good first. How do you do that? Because I didn't know, and he had the how to get good part down. So we created a really great company. And ironically, I was thinking about it. I actually have three companies now because I've since acquired How to Get Organized. You guys know Lisa Hawkinson, and so Charlie and I are building that out like a Merry Maids with almost a franchise opportunity for other people to have earning potential statewide. So I'm really excited about that. I'm still formulating some of those pieces, but I feel like business, once you understand the basics, it's pretty easy to help any business grow. They're all a little bit different, but I really, I don't have kids, so I have companies.
At least they don't talk back.
Right?
That's fun. Okay, so Laugh Tech, although now you're doing it you have comedians and you have is it Friday evenings, you gather people
Yeah.
and for entertainment, but you also offer it for different corporations, right? You go in and you teach them
Yes.
public
Yes.
speaking, and part of that is humor.
Yep. We love people who are technically brilliant and shy on stage, right? Because a lot of people who have the information, they need to learn how to present it in a digestible way for the audience. Not that they need to become comedians, but we can't bore our audience to death. That doesn't work very well.
So it's an edutainment, right?
Edutainment, absolutely.
Mhm. Fun. So anybody else before we close here? Lori, go ahead.
I was just interviewing a man who was a child soldier, and he was recruited against his will. And he is now, after he's been able to defect, he was a spy, I mean, all this crazy stuff. But now he has created a nonprofit in Canada where he is using music and art to change the world. And just listening to him talk and thinking about what you do with your art and doodle the data, I love that data. Um, it just shows that there are things that go beyond what we know. And like for me, business is hard. I don't love it if I could have somebody else do it. But for Marcel to make it fun, for me to look at and go, okay, it's not so hard. And even people say to me, podcasting is hard. Well, if they learn these things, it's not so hard. So looking at how you include art and make it fun and it kind of crosses those tough borders. So I just really appreciate that about you.
Thank you.
So I thought it'd be kind of fun. We asked those who are featured, the featured champion for the heart to be able to share, what their secret sauce is. But I thought it'd be fun for us to share what we think their secret sauce
Oh
is,
boy.
what we see as their secret sauce. So I'll start us off, and if you want to play, go ahead and unmute yourself. And so I think your secret sauce is inspiration. You're an inspiration to others.
Well,
And so
thank
much
you.
more. I can go on, of course, creativity and your good sense of humor and your good attitude, but I think I could distill it down to inspiration for me.
Oh, well, thank you. I did win in high school most inspirational player like 7 or 8 times. Like that
There
resonates.
you go. How about you, Lori?
So I don't know if it's one word, but Marcel has a way of making people feel important, no matter where they are, no matter what room you're in. And that's really, it's really a gift and it's a real kindness. And I don't know exactly what it is, but like I know I brought my sister to an event and she left just feeling like she knew you and Brian and she felt so loved. And she's going through a hard time. And you could have been like, hey, hi. But whatever your secret sauce is, you make people feel like they matter and they're valued.
Thank you.
That's beautiful. I love that.
I don't know how to say it, but I think Marcel's secret sauce is she's always happy and bubbly and I don't think I've ever seen you not happy or sad or even when you were going through your surgeries and that kind of stuff, always were happy on the calls and stuff. So I don't know if secret bubbly is a secret sauce.
Mm. Effervescent.
That's a
I
good
love that.
word.
I would echo exactly what you just said, Karen, that the happiness comes across very strongly and I think helps others to get into that space with you. So thank you. That's a special space that you do share.
Thank you.
Kathy.
Uh, it's so many words. Effervescent was spot on, I think. Very bubbly and always happy and encouraging, Sometimes I walk into her office and I'm like, oh God, this is so hard. Oh, and she's always so uplifting and encouraging and optimistic and positive. And you can't help but feel better when you're around Marcelle. She just has that way of making things seem not quite so overwhelming. So thank you.
Oh, it's beautiful. Chuck, I saw you were unmuted for a second.
Yeah, well, I agree with everybody else that she's very effervescent, very positive, and what I really appreciate about Marcelle, all these I've known her, I don't even know how many years I've known you, Marcelle, but quite a few, and I can say that I really appreciate your unique creativity, and I think that's kind of your secret sauce because I've always found that I'm always taken aback by you come up with these really new novel ideas and thoughts, and I sit there and I like pause because I go, wow, I gotta really think about this because I never heard anybody ever say it quite like that. And then what I really appreciate too is that you provide a path, a guide. You act as a guide for people to go from where they start to where they need to go. And I'm sitting there thinking about what did Marcel just say that I gotta ponder this. It's so, mind blowing in a way that now she's taking me on a journey, right? And taking you where you need to go. And I think that's really a novel thing that I don't think I've ever seen anybody do it quite like that. So I commend you on this. And of course, you're always optimistic, which is great. Always smiling, optimistic. I think that's great. So
Thank you. I have a lot of coaches and people who support me to keep me cheery because I ask for help a lot, you guys. Like it's part of the sauce is I literally ask for help all the time. There's something I don't know or I want to learn about and I go to the experts or I go to Google or I go to YouTube and there's always somebody that's got the inside scoop, so we're never alone in our pain, which is kind of cool. But thank you. I'm gonna like re-listen to this last 5 minutes on repeat before bed for a while now because it'll just be like cheer me on. So thank you.
But just remember, you started this because you created the circle of contribution. And the only way you can end it is to come back around. And that's why it's important, you give so much, but we need to be able, you need to be able to receive as well. And that's what we've just done here in wrapping up this conversation. And so thank you so much, Marcelle, for sharing your life. Is there somebody else want to share too?
Marley.
Oh, Marley. Oh, Marley's got her hand up. Marley. Would you like to share, Marley? I saw your hand up. I'm sorry I missed it earlier. You're unmuted. I don't know. She walked away, maybe. Marley, feel free to chime in. She said, "I'm here. Do you want to write it?" We can't hear you.
Yeah, her camera doesn't work. Maybe her
Your
audio
camera doesn't work, but can you still share? Or do you want to write I saw you put something in the text box. You're welcome to put it in text. Sorry, we can't hear you. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just give the schedule and then, I will leave a Bible verse. That is Marcelle. That would be lovely. I'll check that in just a moment. So we're wrapping up here our second Heart Behind the Daily Hustle of Champions. Thank you guys for joining us. Next month, same date, except a month late, ahead, March 16th, Lori Hardy's going to be sharing her secret sauce and her journey. We can't wait to hear that. And then that will be followed by Patrice Tabor on April 20th. Again, we're going to do these on the third Monday. We're still waiting for confirmation for our May date, and then June 16th is Molly Clip. So we wanted to line out the first 6 months just to kind of set a pattern for this on the expectation. But if there's other champions who are intrigued and would like to be on this journey and share a little bit of their secret sauce with us, please go to the champion dashboard or talk to me and we'll reserve a month for you because we'd love to hear other stories and be inspired. And we learned a lot about Marcelle, not only confirmation of who we know she is. And I've known Marcelle for almost, gosh, what, 10 years plus? And I've seen her in different situations and circumstances, but you've always been a bright light, Marcelle. And so we hope that you take these words of affirmation that we've been able to share back with you and they've been encouraged you. So let's see. Here's the Romans 12:2. Do not follow the habits and behaviors of this world, but be a new and different person with a fresh newness in all you do and say, and then you will know how his ways will satisfy you. That's Marcelle. Oh, that's beautiful. So you might want to put that down, Marcelle, Romans 12:2. Well, thank you guys for joining. Appreciate you. Look forward to seeing you on the first Monday for our virtual wisdom circle for the champions, 20-minute and 10-minute. And Marley, I think you said you wanted a 20-minute. If you haven't already reserved that, I'll reserve that for you. So a 10 minutes available. And then again, March 16th, Lori's going to be sharing with us. So signing off for now. Remember to make every connection an exceptional connection. Bye all.